Welcome, Chairman, sir.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome. Nice seeing you all.
Both of our guests joined, distinguished speakers joined.
Oh, wonderful.
Sir, Krishnamurthy sir from Madras University is a Dean Academic Affairs.
Yes. And also Mr.
Prabhudas also. Both of them joined.
Welcome. Right. Okay, good.
Professor Menon sir will be joining now. He has another meeting. He asked sir, our chairman sir, to give the concluding remarks. He will be available here for opening remarks.
Right. Okay.
Welcome, Mr. Veluru Rameshu, DRR man. Prabhudas sir, you are visible.
Yes.
You are visible. Yeah.
கண்டிப்பா பாப்பாரு யார் யார் வராங்கன்னு.
Good evening, Dr. Krishnamurthy sir. Nice meeting.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
We have not met. Okay.
Yeah. Now we have to do everything on virtual mode.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I spent some time in Rajiv Gandhi National Institute Youth Development, Sree Perumbudur.
Okay.
As the director and VC for some time as the youth development.
Okay.
Who is currently the Vice Chancellor of Madras University?
Now that Professor Gauri, he was earlier in Anna University. He taken over charge as Vice Chancellor a couple of months before.
Okay, to Madras University.
Yeah.
Right. No, when we think of Madras University and Presidency College, we did remember Dr. C.V. Raman and all, no? Great personalities have remained and all. Such a great institutions.
I'm also alumnus of Presidency College. My BSc and MSc Geology from Presidency College.
Okay, good, wonderful. Yeah. I used to say that anybody who is going in front of that Presidency College should bow their head. But when I was there, I think the boys used to fight one another and I think used to kill one another and cut one another. That's what they have been doing.
Exactly.
I don't know, they are not focused.
Last meeting itself, sir told, chairman sir told this about the Presidency College. We have a last meeting. Sir, chairman sir, one of your student from Rajiv Gandhi Institute will be joining. He is our local NYK coordinator. He will be joining today.
Oh, local means from Nagercoil or?
He is from Chennai. He is working in Nagercoil.
Okay.
He did his PhD at your institute.
Okay, as a product of that.
Very young chap, he newly joined.
Okay, got it. So, Professor Manan Saab will be joining later.
No, he'll be joining first, and I think he'll be leaving early.
So, Dr. Krishnan sir, when is that likely to the academic institutions are going to start their real classes? Maybe in 2021?
It's a $1 million question.
Nobody knows when.
Yeah. Even today also we had our university senate meeting and we discussed about this, but there is no idea about
when
we are going
safely
to start the offline classes.
Right. Yeah. So, but I think all this has brought technology into play. That's very important. But all the more, nothing like a classroom.
Exactly.
You learn everything in isolation now.
Correct.
Right. How is the geology department in the state? Is it? So they are the people, of course, who are doing mining, and all quarrying, but they don't much look into the geological structural aspects. Suppose that we leave it to GSI.
Actually, during the last 5 years, we are seeing that there is a steep increase in demand for geology courses. And we are getting roughly about 200 application for 15 seats.
Still you have 15 only. Okay.
Yeah, we are 15. We are likely to revise from next academic year. Since the demand is going manifold, and maybe because of this COVID situation, we received around 200. Otherwise, it may reach somewhere in 300 or something like that. And most of the students will be getting placement once they pass out the course. They have large demand in the oil industries and mining industry, like that.
Yeah, I think Professor Manan has joined. That's great. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you. And Mr. Prabhudas also has joined. Right. Welcome. Right. Yeah. I think we should start.
We will start.
Suresh ji.
Savita? Dr. Savita? Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, Chairman,
good afternoon, good evening, welcome. Right. Yeah. Welcome.
Huh? Oh.
Interchangeable, particularly by.
I will mute everyone. You kindly unmute yourself and proceed. Yes, you unmute and proceed.
Rehabilitation Trust, along with the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. So, we have had the version 1, and now we are on the version 2. And we've been having this series of webinars on Saturday evening at 4 o'clock. And it's a great pleasure that we have the commitment and the passion of Mr. Suresh Kumar, bringing such people, professionals like this time Professor Krishnamurthy, the Dean of Academic Affairs in Madras University, who is a very dear friend and in the relief camps. And we saw that even just a few weeks ago, we had a landslide in Pettimudi where more than 60, 70 people lost their lives tragically. So we have these problems happening, and we are now going through the global pandemic, COVID-19, where we have lost more than 120,000 people in India. And this has affected more than 213 countries all over the world, and more than 45 million people affected all over the world, across countries, and large numbers of people losing their life. And we have seen that when the tsunami happened in 2004, we lost more than 268,000 people. But now, we have seen 268,000 people losing their lives in the US alone. And we find that, if you really start looking at, the countries where people are losing their lives, we have a large numbers of people who have lost their life due to COVID. Some of them are official and some are unofficial. We do not even know the exact nature of the loss of life. And so we need to really work on improving our own preparedness. And so that is where linking theory to practice becomes important. Linking research to practice becomes important. In the 21st century, with access to information technology, with artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, deep learning, big data analytics, we cannot say that we do not know how many people lost their lives, And it is not correct that we, in spite of the fact that we have a unique identification system, we have records of every person. We know that there is a unique identification for every person. There are, various ways of tracking people's identity. And we know that every footfall and every footprint which we are making on the internet, we will be able to track it, because each person's, footprint on the digital domain is very easily trackable. And in such a situation, would it be fair for us to think that we are really lacking in terms of our own preparedness? Because we have not really fully exploited the role of science and technology. And I'm sure that, the presentation by Professor Krishnamurthy would actually help us to understand this better, because he's a geologist, but at the same time, he's a multidisciplinary professional who has worked on different disciplines. Along with Professor Rajiv Shah, he has published extensively, and he has co-authored, co-edited several books published, along with Professor Rajiv Shah. And, we hope that we will learn a lot from his presentation. And similarly with Mr. Prabhudas, who is the CEO of the emergency care services in Be Well hospitals. And he's also linked to EMRI, the emergency ambulance service network, which was launched by Satyam Computers initially, and then later spread all over the country through the 108 ambulance service in different states through the National Health Mission. So we're very happy that we have people like Mr. Prabhudas and also Professor Krishnamurthy joining us in this webinar. I welcome them on your behalf and also on my personal behalf. And I would request you to kindly benefit from the presentations from both these people. I would need to leave in between because there is another session where there is a National Association of People's Movements having a series of public hearings which are happening in different states in the country from September 27th. And right now there is a major consultation happening in linking people's movements with the title "We Shall Speak." So there are lots of people's reflections coming from the grassroots, and the National Association of People's Movements is doing this. So I would need to join them. I'm sorry that this is another commitment which had to be given. So I will hand over to Sree Michael Vedishiromani sir to take over and share his opening remarks. Thank you very much. Thank you. You have to unmute yourself.
I think I unmuted. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Shall I?
Audible, sir. Please.
Yeah. So, good evening to one and all. It is something like what you said as a final. It is also like a finale. I think we had to carry out for the past 2 months very successfully. When we started it, we thought how it is going to sustain, because disaster itself is a dry thing. But that too, when we are going on a discussion. But I think hats off to all the organizers and all those who are associated, especially Professor Manan and Suresh and Dr. Maria Selvam and all, who have been very instrumental in bringing some of the experts in the field to this arena. It gives such a great pleasure, because when we looked into and also the presentations, each and everyone had so much of expertise in this country. That gives me a great satisfaction. When we started way back in 1984-85, the disasters, and today when we look into, we do have got expertise, that gives great happiness. But when we come into today's disaster scenario, I think there cannot be a better or a worse scenario than this. Like Dr. Manan has explained how amid COVID, not only normally disaster affects a part of the country or some parts of the country or few countries or few regions. Now the whole world is affected, and we know how much it has affected us economically and also even psychologically. Even the suicide rate is going up because of getting more arrested, etc., or remaining in a depression mode and all. But I would say disaster is always a challenging one. Every disaster goes on teaching us lessons, and how much we learn, it will be all insufficient. Like what great God has said, Saraswati, what I have learned is only a handful, and what I want to learn and what I have to learn is more. I think every disaster, I would say like that. Today is also the World City Day celebrations. When we look into that, I think there's a beautiful saying, I think in Tamil, I would say, because that is one quotation or that song which I like, and then I would like to put it. I think those follow Tamil would appreciate. Town pakam pogadinga maapla down ahi pohiduveenga. That's a beautiful saying. To put it in English, don't go to the town side, you will down in your life. That's what. But when we, though it was something some 30-40 years back, this is, I think some of the seniors would have heard this song. This is a film song. But to me today, when I look into that, is a reality. It's reality. Because when I walk into my village, if there is an accident, I will stop there, I will address that person, and I will address that issue. But if in an urban area, if in a Madras, the same thing happens, I will look at that side and pass it on. That alone will prove me how much I think I have downed myself as an individual because of so many factors. Because urbanization is a reality. Unfortunately, India is also in the fast track of urbanizations. But urbanizations it's depriving many of the people, and many of the people are put in the vulnerable areas, etc. When we travel, I think when we travel from Delhi in a metro or train, or in Chennai, sometimes it's very embarrassing, because that is how much is our civic senses are lacking, or we have not provided to the people. Urban areas is out of compulsion, people migrate. But that cities does not mean airport and port and roads. We have to address the people of the vulnerable people and the slums. India is a country which has got a lot of slum population. Are we addressing? I think we do have to do a lot, many good things to be done, because we have to learn a lot. Though today this international globalization expertise available even in country as well as from outside. But in this area, I think we have to district-wise, area-wise, we have to address it and all. Just to put it very small in terms of disasters, I think what I enjoyed as a school student, Today, those ecosystems are not available even in rural areas in that serene form, as simple as that. So everywhere, I think deterioration is going on. So it's automatically affected and all. Now, coming to the health point of view, I think Mr. Prabhudas will be able to tell. Even the normal system, our hospitals are heavily, I think, heavily rushed up and all. But when a disaster occurs, because like Dr. Manan and Dr. Professor Krishnamurthy and all, I think I've got a lot of hands-on experience, and Mr. Maria Selvam, we know how much difficulty our hospitals are ill-equipped, the lifeline support systems. We need to equip a lot and all. But anyway, I think that is the disaster is a reality, and we are in the most vulnerable area. I think a country like India with the inequality, the vulnerability is more. The government, the district administration has to be more lives. And when urbanization is going on, people from the rural area is of their basic livelihood and even the rights. But still, I think government as a welfare state has got a greater responsibility. I think states, I would say, should declare this year there will be zero death from disasters. That should be the test of your good governance. That is what I would say, resilience. That should be the ultimate. I think we should do it and all. And today we have got experts, both of them, Dr. Professor Krishnamurthy and Mr. Prabhudas, both of them I am meeting for the first time. So it's a great pleasure. We would like to listen from you, and thanks for all your presence. And particularly, I want to say, I think the 2 weeks program of with Ayyappa College as well as the DMRT has been able to go through the lot number of participants. There's a lot of interest. I think we should continue it in a different form, because disaster is a continuous learning, so that I think individually we equip ourselves and the society and in the process of a country. And so that we also contribute to the 10-point program of the Prime Minister of giving importance to the women as well as technology and also networking. Thanks for this great opportunity, and especially to Dr. Vinod Menon for all through, like it's like a student always is the first to be there and last to leave. And so much to your presence itself is a great encouragement of everyone. Thanks to one and all, and especially to the participants from different parts of the country who have been there. Thank you very much for the organizations, both Suresh and also our great lady. Thank you very much. Welcome.
And I'll be presenting my report at the end, because our two seniors, Professor Menon sir, want to do.
Sir, Suresh Kumar sir,
Please proceed.
Yeah. I'll take 10 seconds. Both the chairs have good evening. This is Suresh Maria Selvam here. Before we could take the report, I would like to share that today this program, as Professor Menon has indicated, we have partner universities from different parts of the country, from Mumbai University, from Manipal, SRM, VIT. I've sent the invitations, and Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology, Central University Pondicherry, and Central University Tiruvarur. Some of them they said maybe we'll try to join, otherwise you'll send the link. Definitely we'll go through it, and then there is an idea of linking the universities based on last week's presentation from Dr. Bala, that linking of universities and with DMRT to take research activities further. So I've extended the invitation to several universities. I hope some of them have joined in. So this event, before Professor Menon could leave, I would like to suggest that whatever we are going to discuss this week, being the end of this 2.0 series of Disaster Resilience 2030, please all the participants take a note of all the points of our learned presenters and share your ideas also from your area of living. What exactly you are expecting DMRT or the institutions to complete or initiate research, to do a study and give a policy input to the government, because it is not just a seminar, it is a follow of the experiences what we have come across in so many years, and it is a knowledge management and information dissemination platform. So it is passing of information to the participants, to the young participants especially, as well as in Red Cross also, to come out with your feedback, so that Suresh Kumar sir is here. So we will compile everything and then we will pass on to the government as a policy input to take it to the next level. And that is how we have to proceed to the next level. It is not just sharing of information or having a meeting. It is a session which we have to look into next level of taking this disaster management initiative and best to the community, depending on us. Thank you so much. Now, Suresh Kumar sir will finish his report, no? Sir, he's... No, sir, Suresh Kumar sir is... Now, Suresh Kumar sir will finish his report, no? Sir, he's... No, sir, Suresh Kumar sir is supposed to...
No, sir.
No, Suresh Kumar sir is supposed to present the report, no?
No. At the end, I will make, because our manager is leaving.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, sir. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It is my pleasure, honor, and to introduce Professor R.R. Krishnamurthy. He is a geologist specialized in field of satellite remote sensing applications in coastal management. He completed his BSc and MSc Geology from Presidency College and was the university rank holder and is the first in the field of satellite remote sensing from the College of Engineering, Guinea, and MTech and PhD degrees from Anna University. His PhD thesis, awarded in 1996, is the first in the field of satellite remote sensing from the College of Engineering, Guinea, Anna University. He has 20 in Japan. As a recipient of the Environmental Award by the Government of Tamil Nadu, he has produced several significant end-user-oriented research outputs such as Climate Action Plan, CAP, Climate Disaster Resilience Index, CDRI, and Climate Disaster Recovery Process, CDRP, for Chennai, and Tsunami Vulnerability Atlas for Chennai Coast. His remarkable research accomplishments are participation in India's national program on Marine Satellite Remote Sensing Information Service, MAR-SIS MARSIS, and establishment of India's tsunami early warning system based on his expertise in this domain. He has closely interacted with the Ministry of Environment and Forest, the National Disaster Management Authority, the Ministry of Science and Technology, and the Ministry of Earth Sciences. He has guided 14 Indian scholars and 2 Japanese scholars in their PhD in the interdisciplinary field of disaster management, which includes scholars with such diverse backgrounds of geology, geography, social work, sociology, psychology, urban engineering, computer science, environmental science, and microbiology. He has edited 5 books and published more than 25 peer-reviewed research papers in impact factor journals, apart from presenting his research outcomes in as many as 40 conferences and academic events held abroad. As far as his travel is concerned, it will take a long list, so we'll be losing his time. So I'll just say he has completed 3/4 of the globe. He has traveled across the Southeast Asia, the entire coast of this side, Europe, and Australia, US, and many part of this earth. So it is a long list. So his contributions under extension and outreach activities include training of key decision makers in India under UK DFID program, coastal management jointly with the universities of Newcastle and Bath, UK, United Nations, ISDR, Geneva, and World Bank Institute, Washington funded program on building resilience to Indian Ocean tsunami, which aimed to train different target groups in India and Maldives. In the aftermath of 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, has trained about 1,000 school teachers in Tamil Nadu and Orissa, and several field practitioners in India and Maldives. Distinct as scientific officer to the Vice Chancellor during 2006 and 2009 of Madras University, provided a great opportunity to him to enhance his administrative skills, which helped him to manage the University of Madras Constituent College in Nemeli village, East Coast Road, Kanchipuram district, as its founding principal. And during this period between 2011 and 2014, he successfully implemented the process of bringing rural students into mainstream of higher education. He has also served as the Dean of Students Affairs in the University of Madras from 2015 to 2017. He is a member of the International Advisory Board, the School of Geosciences, University of Aberdeen, UK, Academic Council and Science, University of Madras, Board of Research, Ahmed University, State Groundwater Coordination Committee, and an advisory committee member of the Tamil Nadu State Disaster Management Agency. Krishnamurthy is presently holding the position of Professor and Head of Department of Applied Geology and Dean of Academic Affairs, University of Madras. So this is a long list. Other than that, my personal connection with him right from tsunami days, he has been instrumental in promoting child-centric disaster risk reduction, focusing school safety and children's rights during disasters. And other than that, his commitment towards his own area where he is living in Velachery, with everyone know the Velachery constituency is managed by the MLA Vagai Chandrasekhar, and he worked with them, and he has given wonderful plans to, because Velachery is a low-lying area, water stagnant area, but he worked with them, and then they have come out with a plan that is a model of community-based disaster management. And other than that, the best thing I have come across, which has to be still understood by everyone, of the community college he has established in Nemeli, it's in the East Coast, which is one of the most vulnerable fishermen village, and he has come out with wonderful results. And many of the students over there who are young in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, and those time, now they're all specialized in their own area of studies, and they're all contributing their best to the community. Thanks to Professor Krishnamurthy for giving this kind of guidance to the students, especially from the marginalized community, to come up to the best of their knowledge and contribute their best to the community. Back. Welcome, Professor Krishnamurthy. This is a wonderful time we are meeting among all this participants from Red Cross and from different academic institutions. And it is my pleasure to introduce you, and the platform is yours. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Very good evening to all of you. Let me thank the organizers for the invitation and the very nice introduction given by Professor Maria Selvam. And I'm happy to see that he is the director of DMRT. I'm seeing this new, designation in the invitation. And I'm also happy to meet Professor Vinod Chandra Menon after a long time, and seeing his face and listening to his speech. He's a very, very important person behind for many of our research. I'll be highlighting his contribution during my presentation as well. I also thank Mr. Michael Veda Ceremony and the chairman of DMRT and for making arrangement for this webinar. And there are many persons behind, like Mr. Suresh Kumar, and then the welcome speech given by Dr. A.R. Sabita, the coordinator of this program. And it's a very wonderful evening among the experts and the participants from different parts of the country. I think my own students from University of Madras, the second year MSc student who is undertaking the disaster management elective course, they are also participating in this program. Along with the freshers, they are officially joining the course on Monday, but I invited them to join in this webinar. So many student participants I can see in this list of participants. So very good evening to all of you. Without spending much time on the introduction part, I will straight away go to my presentation. I think I can take about 20 to 25 minutes to complete it. And because we are running little bit short of time, we are 15 minutes behind our original schedule. So now I will go and share my presentation slides. And Professor Suresh, can you see the screen?
No, sir.
No?
No.
And there is a lot of technical things involved.
Are you sharing the screen? Can you see?
Yeah, I am trying to share, and it's not like Google Meet and Zoom is having
there's a
different
conflict.
technique, I think.
Yeah, there is a conflict. So
The
green icon, share screen.
Yeah. 1 minute.
When you click that share screen, it will show you whether you want to share a window.
Yeah.
Your PowerPoint can be on a window. You can share that.
One minute.
If you're having difficulty, you can mail the presentation to Suresh Mariaselvam.
But it is a larger file, that is the problem, but I am trying. But I open that slides, I'm keeping it ready, but when I go that slide sharing.
No, Dr. Krishnamurthy, you stop sharing first and then stop sharing.
1 minute.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah, the Zoom screen, you go to the share screen, share, and then choose that window.
Okay.
Share, and then Once you choose that PPT screen, PPT screen, there is a share.
Share computer sound, optimize screen, share video clip, whiteboard.
No, in your screen actually, you can go to the,
Whether anything visible now?
No.
No, sir.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet?
No, Professor, what you can do is,
One minute, I will get an expert.
Meanwhile, I welcome Dr. Lawrence, my guru in Red Cross, who trained me in the year 2008 at Mandapam Ramnath. He was trained me as State Disaster Response Team member of Indian Red Cross Society Tamil Nadu branch. So welcome, sir. Hearty welcome, sir.
Screen share. Zoom. File இங்க இதுக்கு அடுத்தது
இல்ல ஃபைல் அங்க இருக்கு, அது சிஸ்டம்ல வந்து ப்ரிஃபரன்ஸ்ல வந்துச்சு, முதல்ல அலோ பண்ண சொல்லுங்க. சிஸ்டம் ப்ரிஃபரன்ஸ்
Yes, sir. Now it is visible, madam.
Yes, we could see the presentation.
Sir, please
yes. Unmute and then you can run the presentation. Yeah, you can run the presentation. Press F5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see the screen now?
Yes, yes, Professor.
Okay. This is a lot of learning experience for me as well. I am acting in front of the screen during this lockdown. And what is this? The presentation I am going to do is how to link the research to action, how this will lead to enhance the community resilience. This is the presentation I am going to do. And here I am going to cover a spectrum of information, whatever the research we carried out during the last 15 years. And I'm not going to the complete details, but I'm going to give an essence, especially the outcome of our research. I'm just giving you an overview what the Department of Applied Geology carried out research during the last 15 years, that is especially after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. And we carried out two major research and development projects that was funded by Department of Science and Technology as well as the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Immediately after the tsunami, we have carried out a study about the inundation of tsunami along the Chennai coast as well as in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. And our research team participated in the national program, Establishment of Tsunami Warning System Development. And that was funded by the Ministry of Earth Sciences. And my team contributed towards the development of the wave model, how the tsunami wave model is going to helpful in terms of giving the warning. That is the core part of the tsunami warning system, India's warning system. And this is not just a single institution or single expert can carried out this kind of multidisciplinary research. And we collaborated with several institutions across the world. And I'm listing out few important collaborators under the title International Collaborations. And the Institute of Research and Development in France is a consortium of universities in France, headquarters in Paris. And they deputed scientists to exclusively train our young scholars in the field of tsunami modeling. That is our collaboration that institute themselves funded for the entire thing, the travel and stay and everything. The university has given the logistic. And he stayed with our team for establishing a tsunami modeling laboratory as well as trained the scholars on this aspect. And we have collaborated with the Koita University in Japan. There is one of our strong collaborators under the India-Japan bilateral program. And also established a memorandum of understanding with the Middle East Technical University and Melbourne Institute in Washington. And we carried out the trilateral collaboration with them. And we trained the trainers, especially in the field of disaster management. That includes field practitioners and the university faculty. Those are all involved in the training and capacity building activity. And we also had collaboration with an NGO. It's a very, very important NGO in the Indian context that is called Seeds India in New Delhi, headquarters in New Delhi. And under the bilateral program, under the India-Australia bilateral program, we had a collaboration with the University of Melbourne. And more interesting thing is when that our research is focusing on different aspects of disaster management. And we established a networking of universities in the Asian region under the title Asian University Network for Environment and Disaster Management. That was about 5 to 6 years. We maintained the collaboration. We had carried out a lot of field-based activities. When coming to the major training and capacity building activities, we carried out under the bilateral program with Japan and Australia. That was funded by Department of Science and Technology on the Indian side and funded by Japanese Society of Promotion of Science in Japanese side and the Australia-India Strategic Research Fund. These are all helped to carry out our bilateral collaboration. Very interesting training and capacity building activity we carried out somewhere in the year 2008 and 9. And we prepared different training modules for the different target groups. That program was funded by the UNISDR and the European Union. It's a program called Building Resilience to Tsunami in the Indian Ocean. And recent our study is focused on the Chennai flood, historical flood that happened in 2015. We carried out the recovery mapping and we had a collaboration with an institution called ETS Zurich. So this is just about an overview about our major activities during the last 15 years. And hereafter, I'm going to touch upon certain salient outcome of our research that may be helpful to the participant to understand. So what is the importance of taking research to the field? And what happened 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami happened and the DST asked us to carry out a fast track study and to quantify the impact. using the technology tools like satellite remote sensing and the spatial information technology and other things. So when we really went to the field, we have seen a lot of challenges that when we want to go and do some kind of quantitative analysis using this kind of spatial information technology, and we found that even we don't have a very good calibrated land elevation data to study the inundation very effectively. Is the first time we carried out a study to measure the elevation at the interval of 0.5 meter contour interval maps we prepared. And that is the very important baseline data we generated to understand the inundation of the tsunami water. I am just showing that where we carried out the differential GPS survey to measure the land elevation. And we essentially used the satellite data available in different spatial resolution to understand the aerial extent of the tsunami water towards the land area and how extent it came, why there is a variation, what is the role of the land elevation as well as the nearshore topography. For as a scientist, we also learned a lot of lessons during our field work and measuring the inundation on this thing. And when compared with the 500-meter coastal zone boundary and the coastal regulation zone boundary, so whether the inundation is exceeding the boundary or well within the boundary, and which are all the safer areas, which are all the unsafe areas with reference to tsunami inundation we carried out. So when we are doing this fast track project for the Department of Science and Technology, and the ministry has advised us to make the end product is useful to the local authority. There is a very biggest challenge for us. Anyone can use this technology tool and prepare a very good map. But finally, whatever that output we derive from using this kind of technology, how the end user is going to be benefited, how it is going to be user-friendly. When looking into this map, the advice what we received from the ministry is the village administrative officer should be in the position to use our output. So that was the advice given by the funding agency. And finally, whatever that the elevation survey we carried out, whatever that the inundation mapping were done, everything we transferred over the village map. And the village maps caps each village block boundaries and everything. We can quantify exactly what is the land use affected in this particular village, how much village blocks were submerged. So all this kind of quantitative analysis we carried out, and the final end product, we made it as a very user-friendly. Even a village administrator officer can use our final product in the field. So that was the very important output we derived immediately after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. There is a very, very interesting and important scientific information we derived out of this particular project. And coming to the Chennai city. And the Chennai is facing some kind of very unique type of disaster. And one end, the Chennai is slowly experiencing for over a period of almost 2 to 3 decades. The shoreline erosion is taking place, and some part of the Chennai city is experiencing the shoreline erosion. And in 2004, we had a very different type of the episodic disaster. That is the tsunami happened. And 2005 onwards, the Chennai is experiencing invariably every alternate year. Chennai is experiencing cyclone and flood, and this is the scenario. Okay, under this situation, what is the resilience of the community living in the Chennai? That was the very, very important research question before us, and we have initiated a study on measuring the resilience index, especially with reference to climate-related disaster. What is the resilience of the community in the Chennai? This is a trilateral collaboration we carried out by the University of Madras, Kyoto University in Japan, along with the Chennai Corporation. And in this particular study, when we are focusing from tsunami inundation to the climate-related disaster, measuring the index, and this is a period of 2 to 3 hours we completed this study, and we found that the resilience is varying from one zone to another. And this is when you look into this older part of the Chennai, which is having a lesser resilience, And overall resilience of the city is somewhere around 3.5, maximum is 5. The Chennai is having a above average resilience, but the resilience is not uniform. It is varying. The recently developed part, especially the western part of Chennai and the southern part of Chennai, is having high resilience than the older part of the Chennai. This is somewhere in the zone 1, 2, and 6, all these zones, right? And this is a very, very important study which helped the Chennai Corporation to identify which are all the important zones they have to consider for in the time of this kind of disaster, like the cyclone and flood. So this is a very, very interesting study we jointly carried out, and then this helped to initiate and involve the Chennai Corporation to enroll in the UN Global Campaign at that time, somewhere in 2010, and to participate in the UN ISDR Global Campaign. My city is getting ready. So how to make the Chennai is resilient to this kind of disaster. The then mayor of the city is, he signed along with the representative from the UN ISDR. The Chennai Corporation officially participated in the global campaign. And as an academic institution, as a collaborator of this project, we are just facilitated in this process and made this Chennai officially participating in this global campaign. And I still remember that Professor Vinod Chandra Menon came for this launching program. On the way he came from Delhi, and this even was held in the University of Madras, the administrative building in the Chepak campus. And the main focus, the objective behind this kind of initiative is how to bring all the end users in a common platform. So if you want to make the Chennai safer with reference to disaster, all the end user organizations like the corporation, the electricity board, the highways, all these departments should work together. The institutional cooperation mechanism should be enhanced. This is the purpose behind we have started this kind of initiative under our training and capacity building activities. And subsequently, what happened after launching the campaign? And the then mayor of the city and our collaborators from the Quetta University, especially the Professor Rajiv Shah and representative from the UN ISDR, and we released the CEDRI report during the ministerial conference that was held in Incheon. I remember that the fourth ministerial conference held in Incheon, and Professor Vinod Menon was also there, and we are all representing the Chennai Corporation in this event, along with the then mayor of the city. And these are all the things we have taken into account, and how we involve the real end user in this research program. And it's not that we are carrying out a study for a larger area like the entire city. And we also focused our study to micro level, and taken 2 identical wards in the Chennai Corporation area. There is Ward 79, and there is very at the close to that Kuam River. Then Ward 131, it is very on the banks of the Adayar River. So 2 identical wards we have chosen, which was already affected by the flood during 2005 and 8, 10, something like that. And we prepared a very simple map using the geographical information system tool, and to highlight which are all the houses was damaged during the flood event, whatever the infrastructure available, and whatever the open space and the shelter like the private school and other buildings are available. It is a very simple map we prepared. Our research team, they prepared this map. And finally, this kind of maps, what we prepared for the ward level, highlighting this importance of this, whatever the damages happened, whatever the facilities available, that helped us to conduct this kind of stakeholders meeting, and bringing the residents representative one side, and bringing the government officials, especially the Chennai Corporation, other end user departments on the other side, and having a discussion how to make the community prepared for this kind of disaster. These are all the steps we have taken during this last 10 to 15 years, and how we have taken our study to the field level. Finally, putting together all our experience, the interaction with the different stakeholders, and understanding the situation in a small ward level. Under this trilateral collaboration, we prepared a climate action plan. This is the first time we have prepared this climate action plan for the Chennai city. And what are the actions should be taken in a longer duration, like 3 to 5 years, and medium period, and what are the short-term measures that should be taken immediately. All these things we compiled, and those details we have given to the Chennai Corporation for their utilization, especially adopting this climate action plan. So this is one type of activity we carried out with the end users, and parallelly, the initiatives came into mind, especially this credit goes to Professor Rajitsa of Quetta University, and coming with a concept that how to network the universities in the Asia, especially to take this higher education, especially the environment and disaster management subjects in the higher education institution, and how the network is going to helpful. So this network is called as Asian University Network of Environment and Disaster Management, short form AUDM. And there were about 22 universities from 17 countries from this Asian region. And that time, the Tata Institute of Social Science and then University of Madras, these two institutions have represented India in this network. And this is the initiative started from 2008 and went up to 2010. And we have carried out a lot of the academic activities like conducting workshop, training program for the different target groups, and the experts coming from one country to another country to participate in this kind of event. And parallelly, we introduced that the disaster management subject in the higher education institution is a postgraduate level student should have an elective course on disaster management. So, because we cannot exclusively go for a disaster management course, since we have the issues like how to identify the employment opportunities, whether how many takers will be there for this course, all these challenges were there. So our administration advised us, why don't we introduce this disaster management as a subject for the postgraduate student like MSc Applied Geology and Geography and the student from Social Science. So we introduced, and then under this AUDM network, we have taken up the very field-based collaborative research, and we conducted the different training program for the different target groups. This network helped us to enhance our academic and research activities. Really, that the important program that UN ISDR funded and the European Union funded project, that is the building resilience to the tsunami in the Indian Ocean. And there are 4 important institutions in the Asian region. They participated, and we prepared about 8 training modules. What Professor Maria Silva mentioned, the school safety program training is exclusively prepared for the school teachers and students in Chennai, and climate change adaptation for the government officials in the Tamil Nadu government. And we prepared 2 specific modules on the coastal zone information system and coastal management practices, that is exclusively for the marine police and navy in the Maldives. So we conducted this kind of prepared and conducted this training program. That is the main objective of this AUDM network. And we see that I'm just giving a small highlight about our the activities under the AUDM we carried out those period, and there are events conducted in Quetta University and Delhi, and we have conducted even in Bangladesh, Bangkok, something like that. And the research, the important thing is, we found that the real benefit of having this kind of international collaboration, this kind of universities network, and this will, when we have this kind of collaborative project, this will definitely enhance our ongoing academic activities. So we'll be engaging our young students and scholars to participate in this kind of program, and they'll be taking up some kind of multidisciplinary research in the field of disaster management. That is the reason behind many of my PhD, that is 14 PhDs awarded so far to my students. They're all from different disciplines, starting from geography, geology, and then microbiology, social science and psychology, all these things. And because we are focused on the very, the application aspect of this technology tools, it should reach the end users very effectively. And how we can go for some kind of policy directions, like what we prepared, the climate action plan for Chennai. These kind of end products we prepared, and a lot of the research outputs available those period, we documented properly. We published a lot of reference books and textbooks, and that is widely available to everyone, right? And introducing this Asian Journal of Environment Disaster Management, and this is the journal also we introduced during the time, and where that even the field practitioners can publish their findings in this journal. So this journal was we put on contract the project period for about 5 years, but it went up to more than 5 years, and we completed this assignment in the period of 17. And these are all the activities happen before the 15 flood scenario situation in the Chennai. Everyone will still remember about this incident. These pictures are very familiar. And another collaboration we have started with this institution called ETS Zurich. And this institution came forward to help us to map the recovery situation in the flood-affected Chennai areas. And there are our students team, they carried out the field-based survey, and they found out the feedback from the different residents in those areas, and we identified the level of the less affected areas in Chennai and the worst affected areas in, as well. What Professor Marian Selva mentioned, we have focused some of the areas like Velachery, which is highly affected by the 2015 flood, and how the recovery process is working, how much the time is taking for the recovery of especially the basic amenities like electricity and water, communication, sanitation, etc. So these are all the field-based research, and our earlier study on the climate disaster resilient index, they've given a very important inputs to us to understand the resilience level. And very interestingly, that when we compare the less affected Mylapore with the highly affected Velachery, we have seen one interesting observation that the economic resilience is high in Velachery because high income groups in Velachery rather than the Mylapore. So the Velachery takes less time when compared to the Mylapore, which is less affected. But because of the economic resilience, the community is in a position to recover back very fast. And these are all the very interesting observation we have found. And then we prioritize the areas, items. These are all the feedback given by the residents during our field survey, which are all the important aspects should be taken into account. And what the people are highlighting about the importance of solid waste management and the importance of sanitation, the electricity, water. These are all the first level requirement, basic requirement by the community, especially in the aftermath of the flood disaster. And the communication, mental health, and the nutrition, these are all the taking on the second level. So likewise, the priorities varies, and this is all the important findings of our field-based study. Sorry. And as far as the climate change is concerned, and everyone knows that we have only two options: adaptation, which is inevitable, and mitigation, which is essential. So how that interesting observation, what I've seen, these are all the picture I got from the social media. Some of my friends, they posted and somewhere in the northeastern part of the country, the school students, they have to go to the school. They have a very good adaptation measure. They are using this robe and crossing over the area during the flight time. They are going to the school. And similarly, what we observed, especially during the recovery mapping survey in the Chennai, and wherever that the residential areas highly affected by the flood, urban flood, those areas, the community themselves came forward with a very interesting adaptation method. That is nothing but the lifting of the building. And they lifted the original building, already existing building, for about 5 feet and somewhere in 10 feet also. So they lifted and they are using the already constructed building. And this is the very, very important adaptation measures we found during our field survey. So this is the way the community is adapted to this kind of situation. And my interesting experience in this particular field, especially the disaster management, happened sometime in 2011 when our university is establishing the first constituent college. Actually, the University of Madras used to affiliate the college, and the 160 plus years old university, that is the first time the university themselves is establishing a constituent college, that is undergraduate college. And as per the direction from the government of Tamil Nadu, and we have to start an undergraduate course in this particular area that is called Nemeli Panchayat. It's a fisherman hamlet, the cluster of fisherman hamlets on the East Coast Road, very close to the Mahabalipuram. And the university given me the assignment as a founding principal of the college, and they have deputed me to exclusively spend my time to establish this college. So when I went and to see that which place I can choose for the college, very, very interesting things what I experienced is, and the district administration was very kind enough to give the building. That is a very, the unused cyclone shelter that was constructed by the Indian Red Cross Society, and they donated to the government. And that was shelter was not used for a long time. The district administration given that building. Why don't you take this building and renovate it, and then you can use it as a college? So that those times that on the East Coast Road, we put the board. This is the college. The people should see that this is a college. So this is the way we established. This is a very, very interesting experience. I spent about 3 years in the colleges. That is the first batch of students coming out, third academic year end, and I was relieved from that assignment. That 3 years is a very, very important and vital period for me. And not only establishing a college, but my focus was really shifted to how to make use of that assignment to go for some kind of field-based activities in this particular Panchayat, Nemeli Panchayat. And since we are having a collaboration with the NGOs, the Seeds India in New Delhi, they given a small concept like establishing the local citizens alliance for disaster risk reduction. It is nothing but how to link this classroom knowledge to the field. This is the main concept behind this initiative. And when I went to the college, established the college, I found that the commerce, undergraduate commerce students, they have an elective subject in the second semester, in the first year, second semester. And it's a fundamentals of disaster management. It's one of the electives, but normally the BCom students will not go and opt this elective. They may go for that other electives like e-commerce and something else. And being a subject person, and myself took this course for the student, and then making use of this opportunity, how to utilize this local knowledge, especially the students' knowledge to the field. And this concept helped me to take this very, very important initiative, how to link the classroom with the field. And every month, the first Monday, I used to invite the village representative to participate in the meeting where the students will prepare a hazard map of each and every village and highlight about the village situation in front of the local village representatives. So that helped to make the local community properly understand the importance of disaster risk reduction and what is the importance of the community resilience and everything. So in this exercise, I am conducting the course, and I also had an opportunity to get my one of our the student came from Japan for her PhD in Kadalur, and she came. She is trying to visit the place Kadalur after 10 years. That time I invited her to the college and engaged our students how to prepare the hazard maps. So she has given a training to this undergraduate commerce students and how to prepare the map. And our student came with a very beautiful map for each and every village in the Panchayat and highlighting about the infrastructure. Actually, I'm presenting the map. Actually, the text they put in Tamil font. This is not displaying properly. Otherwise, is nothing but the village information. Whatever that layout of this building, whatever that infrastructure like road network and other things are available. What is the socioeconomic condition? What is the population, male and female sex ratio? And then which are all the houses affected by the cyclone and tsunami during this time? And which are all the places, safest places they can go for during this kind of disaster. This is the map prepared by the undergraduate student. And whatever the subject they learn under the elective subject in disaster management, that help them to properly understand the subject, and the end product of their the classroom teaching we have taken into the field, as well as we have conducted some kind of training for the village representatives on this DRR, and then the Seeds India helped to conduct such training. These are all exercises we put together. And I showed my student some of my experience after visiting different places in Japan. And I showed my student in the class that when I went to a village, a small village in Japan, which is having about only 700 population, where the people are having about 20 evacuation route to use in at the times of tsunami and the cyclone, those period. And whenever we go out of that building, we can see the signboard and we shows which direction the people should go at the time of tsunami, where we can get the medical facilities and everything. So this helped, this triggered this interest for the students. Why don't we prepare such kind of signboards? Why don't we keep this kind of... I showed the student that when we go to each and every village in the coastal area, I found that there is a map highlighting about the details where the people has to move during this kind of emergency situation. That is a safety evacuation area. And in the time of tsunami, how the people should follow this kind of maps and signboard. Similar thing, the same exercise carried out by the students, and we prepared and we displayed the map in front of every village. So you see that whatever that the collaboration we have with the other institution in the developing and developed countries, and especially the Asian University Network, and that kind of collaboration helped to get a lot of technical expertise from the our collaborators, and we transport those experience to our students, and then we link the output from the classroom to the field. So this is a typical example of taking the classroom knowledge to the field. And this college was not even a 1 year old, but we formally initiated a research collaboration with the Geotechnical Engineering Institute in IIT Madras under the India-Japan bilateral program, and our counterparts in Australia was the University of Melbourne and Victoria University. And the Department of Science and Technology sanctioned the research projects to this constituent college. That time it was about just a year old. And the title of the program we carried out was Spatially Enabled Nations and How to Improve the Disaster Management Practices. And under this program, we conducted the international workshop. We invited different end users to participate in the program. And those times we don't have adequate infrastructure to conduct the event in the college, but we conducted all the technical events in IIT Madras, and taken the Australian exposed to the village, the Nebeli village where we have the college. They interacted with the students, and they quite surprised to see that the village the students studying in the constituent college, this particular village, they have the expertise to come out with this kind of wonderful hazard maps and how the exercise being carried out. And really, they surprised to see in the field, and even that expert, they honored the student who are prepared this kind of maps, who are all the toppers of the college. So this is a very, very interesting thing. Why I want to emphasize this particular message is, it is fully depends upon the principal or the director, whoever is heading the college, and they can play a very vital role to enhance the the knowledge of the students, as well as how to take the classroom knowledge to the field. This is quite possible. We are not going to make any special privileges or special regulation for this. Whatever that facility is available, the provisions are available, we can make use of it. Each and every rural college can play a vital role in this kind of implementing this kind of field-based research. That I really experienced in this particular college, where we introduced some kind of activity through NSS camps, and then international collaboration helped to train the students on hazard mapping. And the concept given by the Seeds India, especially the local residents alliance, they helped to link the classroom knowledge with the community. So these are all the real setup we carried out, and all the outputs we have that helped to to enhance the resilience of the community. That particular location, there is a lot of media reports available about the college. Even anyone can Google it. The Cyclone College, the cyclone shelter converted into college. How that institution helps the hopes of the local community, and what is this the creating employment opportunity for the rural students. All these things. And likewise, we also produced some specific training modules, especially for the school students. The school students, we cannot give a very high dosage of information. And when looking into this, the textbook content, and we thought of going a different module, especially a video module, a duration of about 24 minutes we prepared. And this video module we have distributed to the schools in the Chennai city. And we found that later on, sometimes then some media people from Times of India, they conducted a survey. They came with an article that this kind of training module really helpful to the teachers to engage the students. You know that the students are having disaster management as a course under the social science from 7th standard onwards. It's a very, very difficult to teach about the plate tectonics, the vulnerability of the coast, cyclone, the chronic disaster, episodic disaster, all these things. And the teachers also not fully trained on this particular subject. And then they, based on the feedback what we received from the teachers, and we prepared this kind of modules, and we have seen the real benefit of this kind of module, especially for the school students and teachers. And using this kind of modules, we also trained about a considerable number of the school teachers, especially on the disaster management. And a lot of information we derived from our field-based research. We compiled everything, and we published, we compiled the reference book, the Disaster Management Global Challenges and Local Solution. This is the book is being referred, used as an important reference book for the graduate and postgraduate level students in all over this country. And we also compiled a lot of case study experience under the title Communities and Coastal Management and Integrated Coastal Zone Management, all these things. This is all available in the market and they are available in the open domain. And especially our study on the climate disaster resilience index and whatever the exercise we carried out up to the level of preparation of the climate action plan. And this alone we compiled a book entitled Building Resilient Urban Communities. This is also published by the Emerald, and this our recent publication in year before, that is the coastal management, the global challenges and innovations. And all these reports, whatever that the recovery mapping we have done for Chennai, that is also available in the open domain. Anyone can download this report. Even our CDRA report is available on the open domain. And there are many other publications. And finally, what I want to say is I have to acknowledge all the collaborators. And without this kind of collaboration, without this kind of multidisciplinary team, those team involved in this kind of field-based research, and this really helpful to achieve a lot of things, and especially in transferring the laboratory results to the field. And I'm here highlighting about that our important collaborators from the Professor Rajiv Shah at that time was Quito University, and Dr. Jonas was in Quito University. Now he's in ETS Zurich. And then our other end users, Chennai Corporation and Commissioner of Revenue Administration. These are all the institutions. And this is just a highlight about our important research outcomes. And they may be due to the shortage of time. And if anyone is having required to have more details, they can feel free to interact with me through email or maybe other personal contacts and other things. So I'm willing to share with the information. I once again thank the organizer for the very wonderful opportunity. This is the very right time to have this kind of webinar series, especially for the benefit of the young students, the college level students. They have to have some kind of understanding about this disaster management subject. And thank you very much for for giving me the opportunity, and thank you all the participants for your patience. Thank you very much. Bye.
So thank you, Professor.
We have your email ID, please.
Wonderful. I'll share with you. I'll share with you. Hello? 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 I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. We'll share his email ID and number, and even Mr. Balakrishnan's number also in the chat later. It's my pleasure and honor to thank Professor Krishnamurthy. When I checked with him, you will be surprised. This morning he had an extensive Senate meeting, and after the meeting he has come down, had his quick lunch, and then he has joined this meeting. And we should really thank Professor Krishnamurthy for his commitment and our association with him for the past 15 years. It's wonderful. We have been. The one thing I must acknowledge, I've been working with different, being a resource center person, we have been working with different kinds of stakeholders. But everyone is specialized in their own field of specialization, and we were able to connect all these things. But as far as Professor Krishnamurthy is concerned, he's a techno-social person. He's a technically qualified professor, but he has got a lot of concern for the community, for the social side also. That is why wherever I worked, even in SRM or VIT, I used to invite him to share with his young students, to share his experience. I think 2014, we had a wonderful program with sectoral experts, and he was one of the panelists. And still now, many students were talking about it. So a techno-social initiative is very, very important. That is connecting your technical, your knowledge, which could be useful to the community. Because technology is one thing, is always beyond reach. And now see mobile phones we are using, every time it is getting updated. Many people still cannot access to the new things. But social things are concerned, that is the first responders and the beneficiaries we are going to think about. And Professor is always there to support, and with the support of the stakeholders from the international universities and other universities, he's enhancing himself and trying to give his level best, not only to the community. And I can proudly say his own scholars and who are all working as scientists and professors are in this forum, the same forum. I can mention the names, but still it's a long list. again. So they're all in the forum, the present forum, they're all watching it over there. So it is so interesting to watch Professor sharing his wonderful experience. And another one thing is the then mayor of Chennai, Ma Subramaniam. I just wanted to contact him, come in the forum and give his feedback, but because of his personal commitments, he could not come in the field now. Anyway, he said, you send me the link and I'll definitely register my comments and feedback. That kind of reputation Professor has got with the administrators, policymakers, with the students and community. That's a rare phenomena of a combination. So thank you, Professor, for a wonderful, extensive presentation. It is, of course, the time is very short because whatever you are given is only a few drops, a long way to go. But we are looking forward to take it further. And Professor Menon and myself are planning to have it in a long list of universities to link. And then Indian level, we have to start the research activities to go on. So thank you very much. In the short period, I have troubled you and I insisted you that you must come and you have taken the pride of giving your best. And thank you for your kind presentation. And next, it is my pleasure to introduce, yes, Savita ma'am, please, you are telling something. Mr. Prabhudas. Yeah, thank you so much. My honor and privilege and pleasure to introduce Mr. Prabhudas. My introduction to Prabhudas was 10 years ago. We both shared a platform at the Puriya Talamurai TV, and we were invited. And from that day till this point, we have been coordinating with each other, and many a time, not only the professional thing, personally, during a situation while I was traveling in a train, there was an elderly man fell down, and I requested Prabhudas for support of ambulance. You won't believe it was between Vellore and Arakonam, a person fell down, and I requested Prabhudas. You won't believe before he could reach Arakonam, the entire station was alerted, ambulance was ready, and the person was taken and he was saved. And he was bleeding actually. That was a phenomenal experience from my side. I can tell the story. Other than that, I've taken my students from SRM and VIT to 108 center, where he has established an excellent call center from each and every corner of Tamil Nadu. It reaches in seconds, and the actions are taken, and phenomenal contribution to the humanitarian sector. And the model has been replicated in almost all over the country, and he is a recipient of award from our former president of India, Dr. Kalam. So he has got 25 years of experience in emergency management, disaster management operations. He has served organizations such as BVL Hospital, GVK, EMRI, 108 Emergency Medical Service, and humbly he has written, but the contribution is beyond imagination. 24 hours he is always on the toe. And he has served in different capacities of chief operating officer, regional manager, operations, head of marketing and communications, hospital relations, public-private partnership. And he has been an integral part of the pivotal role in conceptualizing, executing innovative first of its kind, exclusive neonatal ambulance. This was the one which I have documented when I was teaching in the SR Medical College. I have taken the medical students to the center. First time in India, an ambulance for a neonatal child, born child, was fully air-conditioned facility and a small cradle sort of thing where the baby could be brought safely to the hospital, and first of its kind in India. And 24/7 emergency care centers for Unnat for health has been part of several large-scale integrated mock drills connecting several agencies' departments, has been part of rescue operations during several real and disasters, Chiteri train accident, Thane, Nilam, Varda, and Kaja cyclones, Chennai floods, Maulivakam, structural and collapse, and many more. Recipient of Meritorious Award of 2014 from Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mrs. J. Jayalalitha, and for rescue and relief operations during the structure collapse in Chennai. So when I approached him in a short time, being the last session of 2.0 series of DMRT, and immediately accepted, though he has got a busy schedule in his emergency management operations. Thank you very much, friend Balakrishna Prabhudas, for your immediate acceptance and coming forward to share your experience with our participants. The platform is yours. Thank you very much. Prabhudas?
Please, it is your time. Please, sir. Hearty welcome and you can proceed. Prabhudas, sir. Prabhudas, sir, you are not audible.
Yes, yes, sir. Okay.
You can start the video too. I think your bandwidth is low. You can start with audio. At the end, you can start your video. Prabhudas, sir. Prabhudas, sir joined, but you are not audible, sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Now you are audible.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. There was some technical snag. When we talk about disaster, probably we should be prepared to handle all these things. So thank you so much for the great opportunity. At the outset, let me thank my friend, I would say a well-wisher, a decade of our relationship with Mr. Suresh Mariaselvam, sir. In fact, as he rightly said, we met in a disaster situation for Neelam cyclone. On the eve of the cyclone landsliding, we happened to meet in a panel, and that is where it all started, and we are here today. And thanks for the Sree Ayyappa College for Women and Disaster Management and Rehabilitation Trust. Also, I have to thank Dr. Professor Manan, sir, and sir, the most senior additional chief secretary of the former secretary from the Kerala, Michael Vedashiromani, sir, and the previous speaker, the warehouse of knowledge, Professor Krishnamurthy, sir. So all veterans, all scholars, it's a great privilege to be here this evening and sharing the experience. And I am perfectly from the other side of the table, from the field, not from the academic side. However, as Professor Krishnamurthy sir said, every experience should translate into research and transform into making the society more resilient. Therefore, it's an opportunity bestowed on me to share the experience of various disasters where I was part of a large team. So it's a very simple presentation. I would run through the experiences on each of the disasters where I was part of the smaller role in a large team. So to begin with, let me share the presentation.
You are visible, sir.
Yeah, is a presentation visible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can run the slideshow.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So the topic for this evening is lessons learned from the disasters. So you had been dealing with various topics earlier. Therefore, today's discussion is going to be from the field side. And I had been part of 108 ambulance service for 108 months. So it's about 9 years I was associated with 108. And from there, whatever lessons learned from each of the disasters is what I have listed in the presentation, number one. Number two, from the disasters perspective, first three roles was what we were doing. One is on the response. Soon after a disaster strikes, the first response, then reaching the scene to rescue and providing the medical relief. In fact, our role ends there. Therefore, the entire presentation would confine to those three roles which we had been part of. These are the few disasters. The size may vary. However, I would still call it a disaster because of the response or the magnitude with which we were responding. The number of victims affected may vary, but still, for the benefit of learning, I had listed below. One is a train accident scenario, which happened in Chitteri near Arakonam in Vellore district. The second one is going to be a bomb blast, which is, though in terms of magnitude, it was very small. It happened in Chennai Central Railway Station on a Labor Day, on a May 1st, on a holiday actually. And a structural collapse. One is in Maulivakkam near Kanchipuram. The other one is in Chennai Triplicane. There was a two-storied building that came down on a morning. And Chennai floods, as you all know. And cyclones starting from Thane, we had Neelam, Varda, Gaja, and cyclones as very frequent visitors to Chennai. And fire, though we had been part of various fires, man-made fires, the forest fire is what we are going to discuss today, which happened in Theni district, Kurangani, where young boys and girls who were trekking got affected. So these are the scenarios which we are going to discuss today. So the first scenario is a Chitteri train accident. This happened on a stationary or a static train. Another moving train rammed in. And as you know, train is made of iron and steel completely. And the injury was very severe. It was a pitch dark. I'm giving you the complete background of what happened. It was pitch dark. It was raining. And as you know, the tracks are a little away from the road. So it's not easily accessible as you have gravel, and the ambulances cannot reach the exact site of incident. So the next one is medical facility. Arakonam, as you know, is a far end of the Vellore district, and from Chennai it is again far end. Does not have a large tertiary care hospital or a quaternary care hospital. It has a Arakonam GH government hospital, and of course the military hospitals are also there. And when such a crash happens, the blood loss is also heavy, and you necessarily need a nearest blood bank. And transfer of patients, how do we transfer to either Vellore or Chennai? That's a big challenge. So when our first ambulance reached the site, the first paramedic or the emergency medical technician's response to me was, "Sir, I could not see anything. It was complete darkness, and he could only have smell of blood actually everywhere. And the injury was so severe, crush injury is inevitable, amputation is inevitable, and no visibility completely." So the first people to respond in such an accident, where even the largest of administration to reach would take not less than half an hour to 40 minutes. And from Chennai, the medical team from Southern Railway rushed in. From Vellore, the collectors, administrators, everybody rushed in. But then the nearest L&T workers and the villagers, the first rescuers were the frontline rescuers were the villagers, and they provided light source. They started rescuing, and then since various stakeholders are involved, the police, railway police again, and then fire service, NDRF was based at Arakonam. They also came in, and healthcare workers. But then when too many stakeholders are involved, the communication is not uniform across all systems. and everybody has their own protocols, SOPs. So the way you handle a patient, the way you handle a transfer a patient, it completely differs from stakeholder to stakeholder. That's one challenge. The second challenge is how do we communicate commonly to everyone? No communication, and everybody, as you know, lives in different islands. Everybody is strong, but then leveraging on each other's strength is the biggest challenge in a disaster. That's what we face. Triaging. In our country, normally what happens, the person who shouts loud, the person who is able to communicate gets the medical help. But in a medical scenario, the classification is on colors: red, yellow, green and black. Red colors is for the severe injured, or the immediate or the first attention goes to the red normally. And yellow is moderate, where it is not life-threatening, yet you need a medical support. Green is walking wound or less injured. Black is dead. But in our country, it is reverse. The person who gets into an ambulance is person who has a good communication, who can shout, who can cry loud. And the person who is unconscious, unattended remains there. Therefore, triaging at such sites is very important. And this can happen only if a community is trained to identify an emergency, recognize an emergency, and then do a triaging. And if triaging is done at the site, transferred into an ambulance appropriately, the opportunity to save life is very high, and the mortality and morbidity would certainly reduce in such a disaster. This is one lesson. And number two, from this place, Chitteri in Arakonam, to Chennai, we had to run a relay race. Ambulances from Chennai were dispatched, and those carrying the victims were transferred into Chennai, so that each ambulance need not travel longer distance, because each trip would be 120 kilometers, and two-way it would take several hours for every ambulance. Therefore, we planned swiftly to have a relay so that the ambulances can go back and take the next patient. And integration with the tertiary care, because the injury being severe, vascular surgery would be required, orthopedic would be required, neurologist would be required. So multidisciplinary approach is required. Therefore, the government hospital at Chennai, Rajiv Gandhi, was alerted, and the lives lost was very less. And we had to transfer to multiple hospitals. Being railway related, railway hospital at Perambur was also taking cases. So the moral of the story here is integration with all stakeholders and working in tandem will be the success of reducing mortality and morbidity. So the second scenario, bomb blast at Chennai Central. It happened on May 1st on a morning around 7:30, and the first responder made the huge difference, because she was a nurse traveling from, if I am right, from Tirupur to Chennai on a Cheran Express, landed in platform number 9. And soon after she got down from her train, she saw several people lying in pool of blood and severely injured. And she could only cry. She did not have words to express. And she called 108, and she was the first time caller to 108. Soon after she called, the moment she called, our emergency response officer asked her, "Where do you call from?" She said, "I am from Chennai Central." Fine. Which platform? She could not identify the platform. Then our emergency response officer pacified her, pursued her and said, "Madam, look around, and if you could identify one platform number, it would help." Thank God, she said platform number 9. And those who had visited Chennai Central railway station would know there are 3 to 4 access to Chennai Central, one from Voltax Road, one from behind Ripon Building, one from the front side. So our ambulance crew knew exactly the best, shortest route to access platform number 9. And our response was in 6 minutes from the time we received the call. And believe me, one casualty happened which is beyond anybody's control. But then after that, there was no life loss. The vascular surgery was performed immediately on a patient. So all this could happen because of a good responder who could give the right information in the shortest time. Traffic congestion, Chennai Central on holiday morning, And more than the injured or the true commuters in our country, onlookers are a biggest challenge. Parking vehicles haphazard and obstructing the access to an ambulance is a bigger challenge in our country. With the police, Tamil Nadu police, we could immediately get access to the Director General of Police, who helped us to get the traffic congestion eased out, and the ambulance could get access in multiple routes. This helped in swiftly responding to the and reaching to the site of incident and reducing the mortality and as well as morbidity. So this is the second scenario. Third scenario is a structural collapse which happened in Maulivakkam. As you know, a multi-storied building came down on a rainy evening, that too on a Saturday evening. And generally Saturday evening with rains, traffic is very high. And it happened in the suburb of Chennai city. And the nearest government medical college hospital is Keelpark Medical College. And the turnaround time for every ambulance would be few hours if we were to go to a government hospital. And the nearest one is not a fully equipped one. So our choice was immediate private medical college with this tertiary care, which is quaternary care, the best in class emergency department, which was Sree Ramachandra Medical College in Porur. So we immediately, since we had already done a mock drill in the year 2011 with the Ramachandra, we could know the strength and capability of the hospital. So we said 40 patients are, 40 victims are there. They said we are ready with the emergency department, and triaging was done at the site. And we took control of the entire ambulance incident command, regulating the various ambulances of many hospitals. Otherwise, in such disasters, we will not know immediate count of victims and the kind of medical care required. So what we did is we took control of the ambulances immediately and regulated every ambulance to reach one hospital so that we know what exactly is required and what more to be done. And we had 5 medical teams from the government medical colleges stationed at the site to provide the triaging. And we were the first in and last out. From the 0 minutes to the last victim, and when the district administration said scene is clear, we were staying there. And recognizing this work, Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu rewarded us also for the meritorious work carried out in the rescue and relief operations. And here the learning is when you again work with multiple agencies, there are fire service, NDRF, volunteers, a lot of volunteers, because the rescue operation extended to several days. Integration and common communication was much required, and followed by this, Government of India's instruction came in, and there was one statewide mock drill conducted by the Government of Tamil Nadu involving police, fire and rescue, and 108 health. We had a mock drill. It was a very extensive one, starting from afternoon 1 o'clock and ended at midnight 1 o'clock. Various scenarios were practiced primarily to identify the gaps and plug it. So more mock drills we do, we will be able to hone our skills. I think that is a need of our community now. Okay. Next scenario is Chennai floods. All of us know it's an unprecedented rain, but most people do not know. At 108, we were prepared 15 days in advance of these floods. Through our acquaintance with many people, many stakeholders, we knew that something is going to be heavy. And when I told people that the flood is going to be unprecedented, there were people who used to laugh, made fun, but then that was the reality. We had we being into emergency services, we should not be affected because we are at the service of the people. So we had all backup plans in place. We had diesel in place. We had drinking water in place. We had to pump out, bail out the waters, and we had manpower in place, accommodation, food, everything was prepared 15 days in advance. Unfortunately, the same preparedness were not there across. There were scenarios where hospitals were running out of oxygen cylinders because cylinders could not be supplied, and nobody would stock heavily because every day it comes. and generators were running without diesel because nobody expected or anticipated such a scenario. So generators were there, but no diesel. Food, supply of food was a big challenge, and drinking water. Everywhere there were water, but no water to drink. That is the scenario because the sewage and the drinking water was mixed up. Was heavy, so drinking water was a big challenge, and no power, obviously. And cell phone towers were also running out of diesel, so no communication, no data. And after I think Chennai Gemini flyover, Anna Salai, many places were dark without any communication, and many places had no access to ambulance. That's the truth. And our ambulance crew had to swim with the spine board to rescue few people and run few more kilometers to reach a place to rescue. And throughout the night, calls were pouring in, and somebody, a good-hearted person, put my number into social media also. So across the globe, calls were pouring in to save their parents, grandparents, and whatever best we could do, we were helping. And helicopters were also deployed in many places because roads were inundated, and fishermen were the best saviors with their fiber boats. Here there are a few interesting things to share also. We have 104 health helpline, which we integrated with the need and supply. Somebody called me and said, Prabhu, we have food for 500 people. And somebody from the other side said, we need food. So we integrated. And one of them said, we manufacture napkins for women. And somebody said, we don't have. We integrated. And somebody wanted bread. There was a bakery. We integrated. So we acted as an integrator in many places, providing food, medical relief, and whoever were starved, we were the bridge there. And while keynote address, psychological issue was also highlighted by our Sir Michael Vedashiromani sir. He said psychological support. Normally such disasters also sees psychological issues. So through 104 health helpline, we extended a lot of psychological support, especially people who had phobias, people who had, I would say, suicide ideation. We were able to mitigate those scenarios through an integrated approach. And so far, 104 has at least saved 1,500 to 2,000 people with suicide ideation. We can be proud that such ideations have been mitigated and people are living happily. So that's one good thing. So here the major challenge was communication, the proper planning in place, backup, be it healthcare, be it a corporate, any place. The disaster preparedness was minimal or zero. But post Chennai floods, I think by and large people are now prepared to handle in a better way. And we have come across disaster biscuits. Some of the brands in Chennai have disaster biscuits. Some of you who would have not have heard this, it would be interesting. These are used in ships. High calorie biscuits. If somebody can have it, they can survive before a professional help or a rescuer comes. And there are disaster water which comes with a 5-year shelf life. So those things can also help during such a scenario, though it is rare, isolated, but then we can never predict when it can save somebody's life. So disaster biscuits, disaster waters, new concepts are coming in. So I think we should get equipped. We should prepare a community in this direction. So this is a news item that appeared in Times of India because this is 2nd December. The first was the flooding. Second was the publication where it says 108 works on disaster mode. Probably before the world said it is disaster, we were the first to go on this mode and work more. And unfortunately, I don't have a paper clipping because on a flood day, you don't get a paper supply. So logistics issues, vehicles could not come. So this is an online edition. Cyclones, and we had regular visitors right from Thane, which made a heavy impact on Kadalur, Nagapattinam, sector, especially Kadalur and Neelam, again visited to Chennai, Varda, Gaja, and communication disruption was the first one. Thane cyclone, when the entire world was stopped, our ambulance crew were running in full throttle. No ambulances was stopped, and asbestos sheets were flying like I would say the flying saucers, and it was a threat to one's own safety. Diesel was not available. And in fact, we called fire service to rescue one of our ambulance which got struck between power line, power pole and a tree. But the fire service itself had a big damage because one of the trees had fallen on their building. They could not take their vehicle. So in such scenarios, the emergency service providers, rescuers should be prepared to save themselves and should be available to others. This is one message. And no electricity. In fact, I was in Kadalur. It was a month end, if I'm right, 30th or 31st. We had all salaries credited into our account, but we could not withdraw. And I could not get accommodation in any of the hotels in Kadalur because no water, no electricity, no food. And finally, by then, Pondicherry had come up. So Pondicherry, we had to travel to get accommodation. So in such disaster scenarios, you may have money, but utilizing would be a challenge. Therefore, nobody would be prepared so much. Even in Chennai flood, we traveled kilometers together to get food because we did not withdraw money, we did not have cash, and our crew, we were around 10 to 15 people. We were in rescue in Manapakam. After that, we did not have lunch. It was late evening. Nobody had swiping machines not working because data connectivity is not there. So preparedness is a bigger lesson that we learned during such scenarios. And many were homeless, crops were damaged. And from our side, our ambulance crew, many people could not come to shift because unless you change the shift, they cannot sustain their energy. And most of them did not have dress, uniforms, and their houses were completely damaged. But believe me, no ambulance were off-road. What our people told me, sir, if not for our own people, who else can do? So our ambulance crew completely worked without any breakdowns. So that's a learning. And when Chennai floods, after Thane, government also started preparing in a better way. With Indian Oil Corporation, few thousand liters of diesel were kept in standby. If I'm right, 2 full truckloads were kept in standby for Gaja. In case any of the generators in the government hospital goes dry, it can be replaced quickly. So many preparedness came in after, as you rightly said, tsunami was a big lesson. Then Thane was another lesson. Chennai flood is another lesson. And after Chennai flood, I think Gaja was better prepared. And property damage, yes, there were more across Nagapattinam, then Tiruvarur districts. But then the life lost was less because early warning signs, better communication helped people evacuate. And when I visited few of the cyclone evacuation centers, people were there and we were able to reach them, provide medical helps. So it helped. Yes, the damage to their livelihood, everything is next. But as I rightly told you, the first 3 things, the response, rescue and medical relief comes first. And those 3 things, I think, has improved a lot. And we have a long way to go. We are in the primary and we have to do PhD in this subject. But then we are learning every day. And these learnings have to be documented. And like Professor Krishnamurthy sir said, we have to do research and then start training the community. That's the lesson. And coming to Kurangani forest fire, few young boys and girls.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful, extensive presentation from your experience, but time is very short. I would like to share the experience what I was explaining earlier, since we are talking about multidisciplinary stakeholder approach. I'm just sharing the 4 slides quickly I presented because of your support, how we saved the life of a person. That is, when I was coming from Vellore, a person, elderly person slipped down and he was bleeding. That was the only thing I said. But when I called up Prabhudas, immediately he said the vehicle will be, the ambulance will be available in Arakono. I said, okay. Then I called up Director of Public Health and I said, sir, this is the problem. He said, I need the support of the doctor. He said, there'll be one doctor coming from government hospital. He was waiting there. And then I called up the station master, Arakono. I said, then he called me, which compartment you are in? And I mentioned the compartment name. He said, okay, we are waiting there. And to my surprise, when I reached there, Prakash, could you cover the screen, share screen so that I can show the picture? Yeah. Yeah. I think this one. Yeah. So this is. Can you see it? Can you see the picture?
Not
yet. Yeah. So this is the person fell down, and this is at a station. At the station, and immediately the police, the station master, they brought the person to the platform. Unfortunately, the ambulance could not reach the entrance of the station because there was a festival going on. So there was a subway, they have to cross the subway and then they have to come the other side. So the ambulance could not reach the main entrance. So the ambulance was parked to the opposite side, and believe me, the station master stopped all the trains, both sides. And the patient was carried and he was taken to the next side. In 20 minutes, all the train, both the sides were stopped, were halted, and he was carried over there. And the ambulance was waiting at the other side. You can see the ambulance waiting at the other side. And he was taken to hospital. And beyond all this thing, the patient was saved. So that is the beauty of that, the entire operation. So since he was talking about multi-stakeholder approach in taking up a disaster, it is really a wonderful experience in my career that I can never forget. So thank you very much for your wonderful presentation, and we are looking forward to work with you in future to take it to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Balakrishnan sir. Thank you very much. So the platform is to Savita ma'am to take it further.
Yes.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening. The seminar, DMRT seminar la iruken.
Okay. Okay. It's a very, very interesting question to me. I have every right to play within the University of Madras. I can educate the student, whether in the other department as well. But I don't know how to take the subject to the other institution in all the nook and corner of the country. Maybe what Professor Maria Selva mentioned, a networking of institution may give a chance to this kind of opportunity to teach the students in outside as well. Let us think about this. Definitely, if the students are really interested to take up this kind of subject, and we will explore the possibilities, and definitely we will let them know.
Yeah, we had an extensive discussion yesterday night with Dr. Parivalan and TIS. Almost 1 hour we had a discussion. I think Professor Parivalan is there. He's logged in. I'm not sure. He said he would join. Otherwise, he requested me send the link. We had so talking just 1 hour. We could explore almost 60 universities and our friends in various universities in India itself. So we are thinking about it. So not to take it to that level. So even DMRT arranged one program with I think Dr. Renuka is there. Dr. Renuka.
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Dr. Renuka
Very
is here.
nice presentation, sir. Fantastic. Though I joined late, I'm really fantastic, sir. We could inform to say all the voluntary organizations and Rotary also, sir.
Yeah. So, Professor, she is Dr. Renuka is former president of Rotary Club Chennai, and she is an active member. She is a medical doctor, and she has extensively worked in Chennai floods and other hazards. But the thing is, their strength is at the time of disaster, we could mobilize their volunteers into this thing. So, like Prabhudas sir was talking about, so their volunteers are always willing to come forward to immediately take it over there. But for the long-term policy, for the long-term policy input and presentation and research, universities are the key role players. So they have to look into each and every aspect. With the evidence-based indicators, they are going to present to the government that what kind of amendments to be included in the Disaster Management Act. Even yesterday, when I was presenting in the University of Mumbai, I don't know whether Dr. Aparna is there. University of Mumbai, they are asking about, sir, as far as concerned, we are very interested, but there is no one to guide us in the subject because we are interested. The only thing is what we have to do we have to sensitize them on the research areas, and they have to pick up. And number two, with Ministry of Education, we have been working, and even Mr. Naveen Kumar was present in this forum a couple of weeks back, and from Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, every institution is supposed to adopt two villages minimum, and maximum of any number of villages. So when the faculties and the students, when they visit the village, definitely they are going to gain a lot of knowledge, and that will give throw a light on them to look into the research areas. Now, like we have shelter, water, sanitation, child education, environment, disaster management, information and communication technology, mainly livelihood promotion. Professor was talking about, even Prabhudas was telling, the economic, that one particular thing Professor Krishnamurthy was talking about, the difference between when the Velacheri was talking about, a Velacheri and Mylapore comparison, when the economic value or the economic status of a family, individual or a community is higher, naturally they will be choosing to live in a better place, and from the vulnerable community could learn a lot of things over there. So one thing is interdisciplinary of linking all the sector, that is, if the livelihood is improved and the family economy increases, naturally they will choose a better resilience component. Every vulnerable community will look it over there. We can give a lot of examples on that from the past experiences. So university has got a role to look into research area, which is a long-term perspective, and they can choose their own area. And what we can do as a platform, as a common platform, we can bring all the good practices and the areas of research, and then we can guide them. And DST is ready to support that. Corporate sector is ready to support that. Government is ready to support that. And so you can come out with the recommendations, which we can compile and we can give it to the government, and government can go through it and identify, because the government is always looking for building partnership with all the stakeholders. It could be of corporate, it could be of NGOs, it could be of academia, or from the community-based interventions. Like Professor Krishnamurthy has done this Nemeli institution. If we can manage, they can come out with it. Then it will become a bottom-up approach. They can give it the input, and we can compile it, and we can put it to the government. And same way, when the government comes out with regulations, we can make it in such a way that the community can understand, and they should know how to respond when a warning is given. If this could be connected, both ends could be connected, definitely resilience could be built. And I'm very sure DMRT's vision of 2030 disaster resilient India could be definitely possible, provided if you take every step with a planned vision and with all the stakeholders building a partnership, definitely we can take it to a better position and achieve by 2030. Thank you very much.
And one more point, if any institution, any student, any faculty is interested to utilize my expertise to teach the students through visual mode, so I am ready to help them. Even the school students, if they are interested, doesn't matter. Number doesn't matter. Even a 5 number of students or 2 number of students are interested, and we are ready to help them, to educate them. You please let us know.
And I would like to request Dr. Renuka and Lions Club governors who are present in the last meeting to take it very seriously. And you can organize resource persons I could link. We have a lot of resource persons. So you can plan accordingly, and definitely we can make it as, at least we can take Chennai as a model, and we'll start with the schools and plant the message among the faculty, especially to the teachers. We train them, and that will be very useful for us to make the community-based plans, disaster management plans.
Yeah, definitely, sir.
So thank you very much.
Hello, Ramesh sir.
Anyway, Professor Menon?
Sir will be joining. Sir will be joining at the end.
He'll be joining later, or he may
Okay, is there? No, he's there already. He's logged in. He's logged in.
No, sir is available.
Yeah, he's logged in. Professor Menon is logged in.
Yeah, no, sir is available. Menon is available. Hello, Ramesh sir, are you available there? Then any participant, 2 minutes time, you can give your feedback, not only about this program or the previous programs, about the Disaster Resilient India webinar 2.0 feedback time, you can give 2 minutes. I will ask my professor, Lawrence sir. Sir, kindly unmute yourself. Kindly unmute yourself and give
Sir,
your
can I add one small point, sir?
Please.
Yeah. In fact, we used to, yes, sir. We used to have. I'll quickly one point I would add. We used to have Friends of 108 Club in colleges, where training of student volunteers in terms of handling emergencies and disasters, we were having a club, and this club we used to involve them in mass gathering events where our resources not sufficient, but you need skilled hands to support a emergency or a disaster. So this can be scaled up system to build more skilled hands in terms of an disaster, and we can also colleges we can develop as affiliate institution to set up quick emergency response centers. Suppose Chennai gets floods or cyclone, who can take up emergency calls? Chennai cannot. So probably a Nagercoil, probably a Tiruvannamalai, probably a Coimbatore based institution can act as a disaster recovery site or a business continuity plan. So this is a suggestion. 1, students can be trained. 2, we can also have a disaster backup site. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Lawrence sir is an international trainer in Red Cross International. He trained thousands of people like me. Let us hear from sir. Sir is connected with system. Okay. Dr. Lawrence sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you are not audible. Please, sir.
I'm audible now?
Yes, sir. You are very much audible.
Oh, okay. I'm very happy to have this seminar. In my experience, I want to say something about this. It's very excellent, very informative, and very impressive also. That one more suggestion for that, the time concept, you have to see that. That's all. And I am very much appreciate Mr. Suresh and his support the experts and the people gave the lessons, 2 lessons, 2 seminars, 2 lectures. Very important nowadays. So it will be extended to the students level also. College level it's okay, and expectation level is okay. It should go to the grassroots level. That is, I have got information that they are trying to do it to the school level also. First, you give experiences and you are trained to the teachers, and the teacher will go to the school, level, grassroots level, and they will teach the students. Now, it is very important that we are training the students is much important than the college students. That is my suggestion. I think you will be doing in the days to come. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling me to give some feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks
you. Dr. Sabita? Thank you very much, sir. Audio is okay. Is there? Audio. Start with your audio. I think he has some problem, technical issue. We will go to the next agenda. Dr. Sabita.
Very good evening to one and all. Every good thing has to come to an end. The training part for the past 2 months, we have been very deeply engaged in disaster mitigation. Every Saturday means, I think, we gear up as a family, we sat together, we learned a lot and all. And particularly, I think when we think of the country in terms of disaster mitigations, in terms of disaster challenges, it is very huge, very huge. No part of India or not even a district can say we are very well prepared, because disaster is such that it teaches and all. Today, particularly when we look into, when we coming to the, for this sessions, the end of the disaster mitigation sessions, I think it's quite a lot of exposure has been given thanks to the expertise available, and it enriches me, it heartens me to know that such large number of experts available today. I think we are certainly on a track, as Mr. Suresh Mariaselvam said and all. I think we can do it more. I think we thought we will end here, but with Suresh Mariaselvam and other colleagues, I think enthusiasm, I think we will start in another track. And thanks to all the participants today, I want especially to congratulate, thank you, Professor Krishnamurthy, for all his contributions and the humble way in which he sat with the community, because finally how the community is going to be benefited to face it and all. Because of the time limitations, we are so proud that we have got acting people, I think hands-on experienced people, and who have done it. And the way you presented the mapping scenario, the problems which you are facing, the integrating the universities, etc. I think sky is the limit, as one of the participants, madam, said. I think what Professor Krishnamurthy was very humble said, as a university, I will do it. I think certainly, I think myself and Dr. Manan Saab, we will try to take it up with the UGC and wherever, because every part of the country is vulnerable. Certainly, we will certainly look at it, because finally we should strengthen individual. and the institutions in gearing up so that we can do it better. Thank you very much, Professor Krishnamurthy, especially. And Prabhudas, it's something like what I should say. I think now many of us have benefited 108, but I think the way he presented, the way he, I think, made it more innovative was very, very, very interesting. It's something I think I am not going to elaborate. I would only say in Hindi, Prabhu is something like a god. I think I would say 102, 108 is something like a Prabhu. I think Mr. Prabhudas, I think you're like a god. I think God has sent you in many of their lives. Thanks to all, many of your unsung heroes. Thanks to each and every one of them. I think anyone who has heard your presentation will hit their commitment and to become volunteer and to help the 108 in saving lives will be great. Thank you very much. I think we shall all be in touch with, and because time is short, so I think we have overshoot. Technology is a problem. I think disaster always comes with a problem. Very nicely Prabhudas presented it and all. I think we need to do a lot. Thanks to each and every one of you. I think I cannot name this one. I think unfortunately, it's coming to an end, but we will document it well and present it for the future generations. Special thanks to Savita ji. Special thanks to, I think, enthusiastic Suresh and Suresh Maria Selvam and all those, I think, resource persons who have been strengthening us. You were the pillars for us and DMRT, and further we will collaborate with other institutions and we'll make the country a better place to live in and a safer place to live. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to conclude and say, I think this, after hearing, after listening, after participating, we all need to learn. I think the country is in a right track. I think along with the Prime Minister's 10-point program, let us individually also equip ourselves and the community so that what God given a life, I think let us live it fully and peacefully and safely. Thank you very much to every one of you. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Sir?
Professor Menon is there? Is Professor Menon, please?
He has gone out, I suppose. He said he has got another commitment, so he has gone.
No, but he is logged in. That's why I checked up. He's logged in.
Sir, one request, sir, please.
Yes, yes.
Sir,
Yes,
one request, sir. I am Navarajan from Vellore, sir.
Yes, sir.
2 minutes time,
Sir,
you can do your experience.
Sir, all the questions and answers, comments and suggestions may be consolidated and shared in your website, sir. That will be useful for future references.
Sure.
Yes.
We should do it and all. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
You conducted excellent webinars. Many questions and answers we have.
Yeah,
that may be consolidated.
Yes, definitely. Definitely we'll do it.
Thanks a lot, sir.
It's time, Brooke.
So, very great. Good evening to everyone. It is a knowledge hub, as our professors, all the experts told here. We have started with a humble beginning on 25th July 2020. The COVID-19 immunity check that was initiated by Radhi Foundation of Mumbai and DMRT jointly organized the program. That program was chaired by our chairman, Mr. Michael Veda Siromani, sir, Additional Chief Secretary, retired. Sir was there and encouraged us. At that forum only, Dr. Savita and my professor, Dr. Meena, IQAC coordinator of Sree Ayyappa College, they wanted to collaborate with the DMRT and take the program to the student volunteers. Sir, am I audible?
Yes,
very much. Very much.
Okay, you
unmute everyone.
Okay, I think now it's okay. Hello? Yes, okay. Yeah. There were 30 participants on that day. So, Sree Ayyappa College wanted to collaborate with DMRT and wanted to initiate the program accordingly. Webinar series 1 was initiated on 1st of August 2020. In that platform, our Michael Vedasiromani sir, DMRT chairman, who chaired the meeting, our first presenter, the key presenter, distinguished speaker was Professor Vinod Chandra Menon, founder member NDMA, Government of India, New Delhi. He came forward. I sent messages to two of my distinguished experts. Sir has accepted my call at 11:40 p.m. night. Since then, he is our resource, he is our guiding father, helping and assisting. And even from proofreading, setting the platform, giving ideas, everything he is taking care of. That tsunami response, COVID response recovery program was highlighted, and especially about our guest workers, our migrant workers, problems were we discussed on that forum. On 8th of August, again, Campus Preparedness Program, another novel program initiated by our Professor Suresh Mariaselvam sir, UNDP former advisor, Dr. Claribel Environment expert, Mr. Naveen from MHRD, and Engineer A. Shivakumar, a renowned geologist, that campus preparedness, before opening up of schools and colleges, the preparedness measures, standard operating procedures to be followed were discussed. That was disseminated well. And on 15th August, the landslide hazard was focused by Dr. G.P. Ganapathy of Bellur Institute of Technology. He was the director of Center for Disaster Management of the university. And on 22nd August, coastal erosion was discussed by Dr. V. Ramohan from formerly with Madras University. His rich experience were shared. On 29th August, we have cancelled the program because there were death of our Honorable MB of Kanyakumari district. That session was postponed to 5th September. We commemorated, in commemoration of Teachers' Day, we celebrated it. We discussed on that day extreme weather events. That program was discussed by Dr. K.G. Tara, former member SDMA, who was also a geology expert. She has presented all the situations existing, flood issues and drought issues were presented by our chairman, Mr. Michael Vedasiromani sir. With that, webinar series number 1 concluded. We got 1,000 plus registrations and 2,500 participants we had at YouTube live stream. And that program was fully organized by DMRT and Youth Red Cross of Sree Ayyappa College. Many experts, learned practitioners, policymakers, and students and college lecturers, school teachers, from community leaders, CBO executives were joined in that program. And because of the feedback we received, we have decided to continue the webinar series number 2.0. On 12th September 2020, we started the program with District Disaster Management Plan. In that program, Dr. K.M. Parivelan sir, Chairperson, Associate Professor, Center for Statelessness and Refugee Studies, School of Law, Rights and Constitution from Tata Institute. He has given his rich experience and how practically we use this district disaster management plan for safeguarding the community at the district. Professor Suresh Mariaselvam sir also contributed in that meeting. He is a former advisor of DANIDA, UNFPA, UNDP. In that program, Mr. P. Subramaniam, Tahsildar Disaster Management of Kanyakumari District, who joined and he has presented about Kanyakumari District experience regarding this preparation of disaster management plan and dissemination of plan and implementation of plan to the last mile. That was well addressed. On 19th September 2020, survival skill was focused by one Dr. BLS Kumar, my colleague from Vice Chairman of Indian Red Cross Society, Karnataka State Branch. On 26th September, there was a highlights webinar we have organized on global best practices on COVID 2019 response mechanism was presented by Dr. Ruben Samuel, Nepal country head of WHO World Health Organization, Kathmandu. We had a surprise guest on the floor in our platform. We were fortunate to have Honorable Lieutenant General of Leh Ladakh as a thank the Lieutenant Governor. Next, 3rd October focused, that is work towards risk coverage for all was focused. Division Life Insurance Corporation presented about insurance for all. Subsequently, on October 2020, we have she's a member of Karnataka State High Powered Committee presented, and Sendai target number 5 was also presented by Senior Advocate J. Ratnam from Kadalur. On that day, declared as a World Mental Health Day. That day, Dr. And again, we continued with the program on 17th October 20. PM's 10-point agenda number 5 was focused. That is leverage of technologies. Point number 5. PM point number 5 was discussed by one young scientist, engineer IT Aishwarya Lakshmi of R&D analyst, OTA solution for artificial intelligence and robotic technologies from New Delhi. And the Sendai framework number C was discussed. Reduce economic loss through risk transfer mechanism was well addressed by a senior reinsurance expert and who also an advisor to NDMA and former Secretary General of General Insurance Company, Mr. R. Chandrasekhar sir. On 24th, that is last week, the agenda number 4. Invest in risk mapping by Professor B. And Dr. Guru Balamurugan, PM agenda number 6, that is develop networking of universities. That is this program is taking its way. On 24th, we discussed about dam safety, water management, weather forecast, and so many issues. Last couple of days back, our cabinet committee of central government under the leadership of Finance Minister, they have allocated more than 10,000 crores to stabilize the dams across the country in a paced manner. We take this opportunity to thank our Prime Minister's initiative in collaboration of his thoughts and views. They are taking the initiatives for the welfare of the country. So that is the success of our program. Today, it fallen the World Cities Day. Dr. Kalam sir said, Pura, providing urban amenities in rural areas. So we believe if we the world and the population lives in urban area, 60% of the people of Kerala, Kanyakumari district live in urban area. So urban flooding is a big challenge. Today we have our distinguished speaker speaking from Chennai. The entire city is floating for the last few days. So the disaster managers are working 24/7. Today, our Dr. R.R. Krishnamurthy sir, from Academic Council, Academic Affairs, University of Madras, taken a very important issue, linking up research into practice for community resilience. There were some misconception, misunderstanding that whether all the research conducted by the scholars are useful to the community. After hearing from Professor today, we believe that all the research work can be practicable model. The Japan models, all the technologies used and practiced for the welfare of the community is already I have experienced that Namili village, I have visited in person. We worked with the coastal habitation. We have seen your early warning system. All the maps you have shown here, I have visibly seen from CBDRM exposure visit from SIRD Chennai, State Institute of Rural Institute. They are rural development. We have taken to that field. All the technologies are useful, and there are a lot of expectation from people from across the country want to learn disaster management subject and research. So I take this opportunity on behalf of Sree Ayyappa College for Women and DMRD. We thank you very much, sir, for your deliberations. Next, our great man is Prabhu by name. He is always a Prabhu. You are a worshipable Lord, as our chairman said. I personally experienced 108. Whenever I contacted, I received a call. I have given a lot of, wherever I go, if there is any issues, I do first aid there. Immediately I call 108. They were there within few seconds. They were always supportive. There were no casualties. They supported us. And your Unnat team, we have used for our lot of training program in engineering, schools, colleges, and community level workshops. And you were doing a wonderful service. You focused about lesson learned from disasters. Many scenarios were explained by you. That is from Chennai, train accident, Bombay, bomb blast, Mauliwakam, structural collapse, or when World Cities Day is celebrated, that Mauliwakam structural collapse is an observer. At that time, Director Madam Lily IAS was known to me that the entire government system machinery was working for that. Just because failure of a soil test, we experienced such an issue. So soil test is very important. Chennai flood that you told. Kurangani forest fire was first witnessed and reported by 108 ambulance driver. I was at that time asked to be there at Kurangani because professional experts are doing. So we have to do community search. Anna University also came there to have a aerial survey of affected people and animals, if any, before they set the fire. So the Kurangani forest fire, your role was highly appreciated. And now you are working for you addressed common issues like all the cyclone, Thane, Neelam, Varda, Gaja, and Ogi. You have categorized the common issues of communication failure, electricity failure, water failure, food, transport, home, and crop damage. These are all common issues. But still we say that it is a common issue. If we resort to one issue, we are a successful disaster manager. So disaster kits or survival kit, that is your focus area now, and you are doing water and biscuits for people in distress during emergency. These things will support. You are doing a very excellent job. You are appreciated well. So by coming to this, in addition to this program, I also take this opportunity to thank on behalf of Sree Ayyappa College for Women and DMRD, sir, Mr. Prabhudas, sir. We are really happy and thank you for your dedicated service in the field of emergency service. In addition to this, on 13/10/2020, we had International Day of Disaster Risk Reduction. Red Cross, Kanyakumari District, Lions Club International South, 6 districts of Tamil Nadu, and Rotary Club of Chennai Bharati. We have conducted the disaster risk governance awareness program was conducted. And on last 29th October 2020, the 21st anniversary of 1999 Odisha cyclone day was observed as a state preparedness day and national preparedness day. I could associate with both the district administration, collaborated with both Panchayat College, where the district collector, Mr. Lalidendra Mishra, was there more than an hour. And he has given his thought, and he has donated blood for more than 40 times So these initiatives were also taken in toto. We have 1,400 registration, and webinar series 2.0, we have covered more than 5,000 participants. This is not an achievement. It is a humble beginning we are having. Now today's focused discussion brought online program, online study. Our Dean Professor Krishnamurthy sir volunteered for online learning. So DMRT will definitely think about online study for the volunteers, students, those who are interested in this area. So with this, the 2.0 comes to an end, but we wanted to close, as our chairman sir said. The very success of the program is two warriors who always support us, guide us, motivate us. One, Professor Vinod Chandra Menon sir, founder member NDMA, Government of India, and our senior guru, Mr. Michael Vedasiromani sir, who put us, both of them, put us in the right track and take this program to the greater heights. We humbly submit that we could reach you, we could able to participate. Today, I take this opportunity to thank my guru, Mr. Lawrence sir, Dr. Lawrence sir, who trained me 2008, connected and given his feedback. And I wish to take special thanks to Dr. Claribel madam, who set the platform to move. Though she is very silent here, she always support program to conduct this program. And above all, our Suresh Maria Selvam sir. Without him, we ought not have completed the program. Whenever there is a topic is chosen, another second he choose the expert and he make it available for our program. Dr. Professor Suresh Maria Selvam sir is a great boon. He is a great asset for this collaborative forum. So I take this opportunity to thank you a lot, sir, on behalf of Sree Ayyappa College for Women and DMRT. And I take the special thanks to Dr. KV Jayashree madam, principal of the college. She has given a free hands to the Department of English professor and IQAC to conduct the program. Many times madam joined and given her introductory speech was really a success of the program. Today also madam joined and observed thing, and she left for another meeting passing information. And I will be taking this opportunity to thank Dr. Meena madam, who also initiated this program, supporting the program and always encouraging Department of Commerce HOD of Sree Ayyappa College. And last but not least, my pet friend, now she's guiding me. She's giving a lot of inputs. She encourages me, especially 3 months past. Quarterly reports I have submitted. Normally financial institution they will say Q2, but it is Q1. Quarterly 3 months report I have submitted. Dr. Savida is instrumental for smooth conduct of the program. She has taken much pain in initiatives to continue the program. I hope DMRT and the Sree Ayyappa College and entire participant here and experts, I give a kudos to Dr. A.R. Savida for your dedicated service. Thank you. And finally, the participants. We have a expert group. We have a knowledge group, CBO executives across the country, from Kanyakumari to Leh Ladakh, from Gujarat to Assam. We have north, east, south, at 4 corners of the country. For entire villages are interlinked. We are thinking of now linking up education institution. Mainstreaming of education, Professor Krishnamurthy sir contributed a lot. Mainstreaming of education on disaster management is a key challenge. Sir has taken a lot of initiatives and he has presented us in the international forum. All the international thoughts were implemented in Tamil Nadu, and I hope this webinar series given some basic inputs to the field practitioners to take away You have got some key points, takeaway messages together. Dr. Sarita, we'll check Professor Menon.
Hello. Before we could proceed, I would like to add one more thing. The 2.0 series and 1.0 and 2.0 would it have been so nicely organized without the support of Suresh Kumar sir? And we should also thankfully remember Suresh Kumar sir, your wonderful contribution of coordinating the resources. In fact, whenever you wanted, I was just referring the resource persons. Of course, that's a relationship with the resource persons. But to contact them, to check their available time and get their profile and put it on time, and then preparing the flyer, and Savita madam organizing the schedule and conveying the message and making it to happen on time. It's not an easy job. So your coordination was so wonderful, and we are very, very thankful for your wonderful contribution in making this program great success. Thank you very much, sir. Suresh sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. All because of the senior warriors.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was an excellent talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, Chairman, sir, shall we end the meeting? Chairman, sir, shall we end the meeting?